haircut.
How you doing, everybody? It's Jay Nanda, San Antonio Metal Music Examiner with Access.com. Coming to you from underground on a rainy night, 210 Capone's outside, staying away from the rain and the sound check, but we are here for a very special night. Saxon, Armored Saint, Evilly United, about to play in a couple of hours, and I cannot begin to tell you how happy I am to have the pleasure of going into the pit with one of the best vocalists out there in metal today, Armored Saint's John Bush. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you very much.
It's great.
Kind words.
Oh, it's great to have you here. You've always been one of my favorites because I am a big proponent of passionate singers who give it their all. And just with you, I mean, you just always. There's a lot of singers out there that are screamers and just scream for the hell of it, or that maybe that's what their genre calls for. To me, John, you've always been somebody who makes every scream count, but it's more than screams. You're very powerful. You're one of the band's proponent of the main lyric writers with Joey Vera. So you put a lot of thought into your words and the way those words come out on stage. I mean, where does that come from for you, first of all?
You know what? A lot of my favorite artists are like old soul singers, like Levi Stubbs and Earth, Wind & Fire's Maurice White, and I mean, it's not metal, but I think a lot of my inspiration, as well as great singers like Halford and Bon Scott, and people Phil Maud, UFO, but those guys, I think, embedded in me a feeling of wanting to be very soulful. So, I might crack here and there, I might, sing something a little bit out of pitch, but I always try to be passionate about my approach to singing, and just, bluesy. Robert Plant, those are the kind of things that started me wanting to sing well. And then, I carried it into a little bit more of a metal style. Sure. And here I am.
Well, today's May 23rd, but on June 2nd, Armored Saint's going to hit you with a brand new album called Win Hands Down. How much will we hear any new stuff tonight?
Yeah, we're going to play 2 new songs. I won't tell you what. Well, we're playing the title track, okay. And then we're going to play one other. It's like with us and Saxon, obviously old school bands. So we know that people want to hear old school stuff. At the same time, we have a new record that we're proud of. And if you didn't play something new, it'd probably be like, well, I guess they don't like it very much. So it's a combination. I think that's what I would want to see if I was a fan. A combination of some old material, some new material, and that's what we're doing. I'm trying to remember, maybe you can answer this, but I really don't recall the last time Armored Saint played in San Antonio.
I was just about to ask you that next.
I don't remember. I was really trying to remember, but I can't. I don't know if it was at Sunken Gardens one year that we played, and I don't know who played with us. We also played the Majestic Theater way back in the day, with Saxon, I believe.
Oh, wow.
That was like 1986. So I don't know. I'm curious. I might even talk about it on stage tonight.
That'd be great.
I don't remember the last time that we actually played in San Antonio.
Well,
I'm pretty good at remembering dates.
Yeah, and so am I, and I've lived here 10 years, which doesn't sound too long. And I was about to ask you that I didn't recall you guys being here during the La Raza tour cycle.
We didn't play La Raza.
Yeah.
I don't think we played during Revelation, which was in 2000.
So it would have been 90s.
And I don't even think we played during Symbol of Salvation. So it might have been in the 80s.
80s, wow.
Might have been. So I guess we're overdue for playing here. It's a great rock fan, obviously.
Which begins to tell you how special tonight is. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of those new songs. You shot a video for Win Hands Down. The fact that what I love about the new album that you guys are going to hear when it comes out June 2nd, like I said, is the wide-ranging topics you have on this album. I mean, you've got everything from the whole social media friends craze on That Was Then, Way Back When is the name of the song. You've got a song about porn addiction called An Exercise in Debauchery.
It's in your homework.
Yes, of course. I've had the album for a couple months. I've been fortunate to be listening to it. And the one I really wanted to talk to you about is a song, 7.5-minute song called In an Instant, which is about the Boston Marathon bombings. Don't quote me.
Inspired by that.
Sounds
like a weird thing to be inspired by.
But yeah, I mean, tell me how that came about. Was that a collaboration between you and Joey, lyric-wise, music-wise?
I mostly write the lyrics. Joey contributes a couple things here and there, but it's primarily Joey writes a lot of the music, and I write the lyrics. As our Lennon and McCartney trip, and I think that song was just inspired probably by my kids because I have 2 children, and I see how life goes quickly, and I think that just realizing that sometimes life can change in an instant, for people, and one person standing at this marathon finish line, the next moment they're limbless, or maybe you find out you have cancer, 6 months to live, or a car accident, and boom, somebody's life is either maimed or taken. So it just shows you how life is fragile and how you got to seize the day and live every moment like it counts, because you never know. Or you may live to like 100 years old drinking and smoking your whole life, which is fine. But you can't count on that. And I think it's just a reminder to me to always be in the moment. Like, live in the present. That's real important to me. I don't want to accelerate time because, like I said, I see my kids are already getting older, and I'm like, slow down here. I made the line, like in the beginning of life, or when you're young, you want life to go fast because you're always ready to, experience something new. As you get a little older, you realize that you kind of don't want that to happen as much, and you want to just be in the moment. And we're in the moment today.
Absolutely. So let me put out something from the past here for those of you who remember, obviously, the MTV and Headbangers Ball era days. I still have on VHS somewhere that 1987 Hell on Wheels show you guys did in Minneapolis.
That's a great gig.
Grim Reaper, Armored Saint, Halloween. I just remember you coming out and going, Minneapolis Underdogs! It was just crazy. And then wanted to pull out something here in your
cassette.
presence.
Nice.
This is a cassette for all you young people out there. Raising Fear, Armored Saint.
Somebody was telling me cassettes are making a comeback. I found that a little hard to believe. They just never sounded that good.
Unfortunately, there's no photo of the band here, so there's no big hair photo or anything. But one of my favorite Armored Saint albums. Is there anything in particular about
Raising Fear? Well, we're selling some Raising Fear retro shirts tonight, so
awesome.
that'll be cool. And yeah, fun cover. Guy bursting out of Los Angeles or some kind of metropolis. And for some reason on that record, I don't know why, but I think it was Dave Pritchard who lost his life a while back, but he wanted me to sing So High on that record. I hate him for it now because I was like, dude, what was I doing? Why was I singing like that? I think it was all in except maybe Udo's style. So sometimes it's hard to kind of produce that stuff live, but I just sing it in my tone of where I'm at today. But yeah, it's a great record. Chemical Euphoria is always a classic.
Yes, absolutely. And hey, tonight's a Saturday night special, so there you go, right?
Well, right. We contemplated playing that once live, and we couldn't really pull it off. I think Skinner would probably like, don't do that. Put it on the record, don't play that.
Well, John, one of the things you have in common with another vocalist performing tonight, Biff Byford of Saxon, was that both of you took part in Metallica's 30th anniversary back in 2011. I've got all 4 of those nights on my iPod. You did such a killer version of the Four Horsemen with the guys on stage.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, like I said, you and Biff were there, Rob Halford, King Diamond, so many vocalists. Obviously, you were the only one out of everybody there that James Hetfield acknowledged almost joined Metallica back in the day. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh man, did you ever think of what it would be like if you joined Metallica? I know you deal with that all the time. What I would like to know is, hypothetically, put yourself in this situation. If you were in the band, do you foresee yourself, would you have gone from And Justice for All to the Black Album to Load and Reload if you were in the band?
That's a funny question. Metallica is one of those bands that became so big, especially after the Black Album, that the automatic thing to do for a lot of people was to have the backlash out. Same thing kind of happened with a band like U2. After like, what was it, Octone Baby, it was just like, there was going to be this backlash because they just became so massive. And I think it was easy to do that for Metallica. But the thing I always, and I'm not just blowing smoke, the truth of the matter is the thing I really always respect about Metallica is they were willing to do things, take chances, and sometimes people don't always follow along with the chance. And it's bold for a band to do that. It's much better, I prefer a band to do that than to continue to play it safe and to put out the same kind of material all the time and do something that's just kind of expected.
Right.
I would rather have somebody say, let's do something different, take a chance, write some music like this. They all cut their hair. Possibly some of that was a little bit strategic, maybe not, I don't know. But at the end of the day, my favorite artists are ones that stick their neck out and don't play it conservatively. And it's funny because I know it's metal, and the last thing we ever think about is metal being safe. But I think metal can be real safe sometimes. The image, the style of music, sometimes people just kind of go back to the drawing board all the time. And as a musician, I can't do that. It's just not fulfilling to me. So I feel like I would be kind of mailing it in if I did that. So I'd rather take a chance and have somebody go, I didn't like that, but it was different. And then, fair enough.
Right. Is it true that in the early days of the Armored Saint that Metallica contacted Joey Vera to be bass once Cliff passed?
Well, Joey's situation was a little different than mine. I think Joey was asked if he wanted to come out and participate in an audition that was going to encompass a couple people. Jason being one of them. So, but he certainly would have had a shot, and great bass player, obviously, and I'm sure he was always flattered by the offer. And I don't know, I guess the guys in Armored Saint are, well, I went and joined Anthrax eventually, so I guess I wasn't that loyal. But no, there's a lot of loyalty to Armored Saint. You know, same guys, other than Dave who died, but you know, it's the same guys, which is really cool to me. It's not like, you know, what version of this is Armored Saint, Joey Vera, and that dude, and who are these people? Like, it's the same guy.
And you're great at segueing into my questions, because it was obviously another Big Four band that John joined, Anthrax, made some killer albums in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s. Obviously Sound of White Noise, so many great songs, Sodium Pentothal, Room for One More, the list goes on. I had read, obviously if it's on the internet, it must be true, but this might have been a little before the internet. I had read that when you joined Anthrax, I read a quote from you that said that joining Anthrax was admitting defeat for Armored Saint. I don't know if you had ever said that, but
Admitting defeat for Armored Saint?
because you were going to, I had read that somewhere. I'm wondering if you did say it, and more importantly, now that your career has come full circle, would you describe this as a resurgence or a renaissance of Armored Saint because it's come all the way around?
It's weird. I mean, if you read it somewhere, maybe I said it, but I don't really remember saying something like that. I don't remember why I would, because I think everything has a time. You know, not to be too. That's a
Train time. Well, we'll deal with it. Train's cool.
Not everything. You know, I don't want to get too deep here, but you know, I kind of feel like everything has a beginning and an ending. And for Armored Saint, the ending, it was about time to end it at that point, and for me to join Anthrax. It just was the way the world was supposed to go for me. So. You know, I don't know if we ever sat there and discussed, hey, I'll come back in 10 years and I'll make another record, and it wasn't the plan. I left the band and I joined Anthrax, and you know, I always, I'm happy with the decision I made regarding that. But, you know, life kind of is cyclical and things come back, and, you know, Armored Saint, there's, like I said, not to be redundant, but there's a lot of loyalty within this group as the members.
Right.
So I think that it says a lot. We were never a band that was a massive band. We never sold tons of records. We never kind of got over that hump, so to speak. So sometimes it's hard, you know, and especially when something else is calling, and it did, to not say, okay, I'm seizing this moment.
Right.
And that's what I did. And, you know, I think that there's water under the bridge here in this rainy day in San Antonio. I hope everybody feels the same.
Yeah, well, it's a fantastic era of music that you made with them, and the connections don't stop there. Even today, between Anthrax and Armored Saint, I mean, Joey Vera is in the supergroup Motor Sister with Scott Ian and Scott's wife Pearl a Day, which is a tribute to Mother Superior songs. And I had the pleasure of interviewing Scott and Pearl over the phone just before the album came out in March. And the interesting thing about that was that one of the questions one of my social media readers submitted for Scott that day was, will Scott foresee working with John somewhere down the road? And Scott answered, you know, we're still good friends, we're family, we're brothers, can't say if we're going to work down the road. But he also added, with Pearl on the right next to him, he said Pearl just did a backup vocals on the new Armored Saint album. So and so there was that. So it was great to hear about that from him, and that's on a song called With a Head Full of Steam. As far as I know, it's the first time you've ever done vocals with a female vocalist. Can you talk about how that all came out?
I was just I had that in my mind that I would like to do that. I've done songs with other guys, but I just thought it would be cool to bounce off a woman, have a female voice with me. I wanted it to be a rocker. I wasn't hearing some ballad type song. She came in and she just knocked it, you know, out of the park, bluesed it up, belted it out. You know, it's such a compliment to my singing on that song. So it was a lot of fun. Plus, there's obviously a parallel in our worlds, as you mentioned. So it's great. And she kicked ass. And maybe there's talk. I don't know yet, but there's talk about doing a video for that song. So we'll see. Don't know that yet for sure. And for the record, I did. Scott had a 40th birthday party for Pearl just about a month or two back, and he gathered a bunch of various musicians that played at the party. And I sang with Scott Safe Home there. So I guess we did play together already. So not in the traditional Anthrax sense, but we rocked that. That was fun because we got to play that song all the time.
That's cool. Well, it's great. I'm going to let you go pretty soon. I mean, it's weird. as much of a metalhead as I am, I've only done karaoke once in my entire life. And that was on a 70,000 Tons of Metal cruise with a friend of mine from Toronto named Frank, who wanted to do Only. He wanted me to do it with him. So he and I were on a cruise ship in 2011 doing Only, and he was mostly impersonating you. I was pretty much stomping around like Scott during the guitar solo. But that was obviously an inspiration that you provided. So I just wanted to say how awesome that was to do that.
Well, thank you. Always a great tune.
The last thing I wanted to ask you was, tell me, going back to 1992, thereabouts, the Hellraiser 3 movie, is it true Armored Saint was in that for a while? Or
Hellraiser 3.
Yes.
Hellraiser 3, yeah, we did a little cameo in that movie. We were on tour at the time for Simple Salvation and Another Train, and Last Train Home. And they were asked, I don't know how we even got it, to be honest, but somebody asked us if we wanted to be in the movie, and we said, yeah, it'd be awesome. We love Pinhead, and especially the first two Hellraisers. And so we got a little cameo. We're playing in the scene, and they come in the club and they slaughter a bunch of people. I thought we originally were supposed to be killed ourselves, but that didn't happen. And yeah, it was great. It was fun. I mean, personally, I thought the Hellraiser 3 was kind of the beginning of the decline in the Hellraiser movies. I didn't really follow anything after that. And you know, that's even the movie we're in. Still cool, not as cool as the first one. The first one was awesome.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Tonight, Saxon, Armored Saint, Evil United are about to take the stage in a couple hours here at 210 Capone's. Tell those who are watching around the country or wherever else the future tour plans for Armored Saint, what you've got coming up.
You know, we're gonna play shows. You know, there's a lot of territories we haven't played in a long time. Obviously, you can't remember when we played San Antonio last, and I have a pretty good memory, long-term memory. I won't remember this interview in 10 minutes, but there's places that we want to play. We're doing some shows in Europe, a couple big festivals, Hellfest, Wacken, which we haven't played in 15 years. We just played back east. We're playing out west with Saxon, that is. Talk about maybe going out with Saxon in September, doing more shows. So there's a lot of territories that we like to go to. Japan, we've never played in our life. South America, Mexico, you know, 3/5 of this band is Mexicano, so it'd be cool to do that. So, you know, it may not all happen in the first couple months, but there's no reason that we can't spend the next year and a half doing shows.
Well, wish you all the best, spreading the gospel of Armored Saint. Go check them out. And of course, June 2nd, Win Hands Down, a new killer album from Armored Saint, coming out on Metal Blade Records. So for John, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, brother.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Can't wait for the show tonight.
Thank you.
For John, Jay Nanda, San Antonio Metal Music Examiner with Access.com, reminding you, don't hang them out to dry. Hold them up high.